You are lying in your bed at 1 AM and suddenly you're asking yourself, what if it had worked out? You replay all of the confession, every single word of it, all the interactions you had before, but you can't really wrap your head around it. You wonder, what even is love? What do you need to love? You have to understand that love's like a coin, one that has been tossed for you. You don't get to decide how it lands or if you win. I mean, it's just fate, or is it? Lovers who understands how risky yet beautiful love's better than most romance anime, I'd say. It shows exactly what you need to start a relationship because it's basically what you shouldn't do. Plato once said, "What may love be? Baby, thou may not hurt me, no more, no more." I mean, probably, but isn't that the exact issue? Wanting to be loved but not making yourself vulnerable enough to love? If you want to let a package reach you, shouldn't you open the door? Why should it be any different for feelings? Should we call that playing cowardice? Or isn't it just human nature to long for something exciting? Something that causes friction for once in your daily life? Don't you yearn for that very feeling that scratches a certain itch that had been going on for so long that you almost forgot about? And again, isn't it just normal to want to feel full of warmth and happiness, something that you could never exactly replicate by being alone? Yeah, it is. Right until you get rejected on a random afternoon where you muster up all of your courage to finally confess to your crush. Of course, your crush is more than allowed to reject you, but you've fallen into a hole. You've made yourself vulnerable by putting yourself out there, and now this empty hole wants to be filled, and if it isn't, well, you keep thinking about what could have been, right? To minimize that, you look for methods to cope. Books, long walks, or watching videos on YouTube like mine, and they can't seem to help you. You think to yourself, what if I never opened up? What if I just held it in and accepted that was not gonna work out? And then you might discover romance anime, a medium that is used to give you an educated guess on what could have been. If only a crush had feelings for you too. Naturally, you live, you learn, and eventually manage all of these complex emotions. Thanks to your struggle, you grow stronger and finally find the one you love, and they probably love you just as much as you do, right? And all of it just because you've made yourself vulnerable again. Just enough to love and to be loved. But wait, reverse the tape. What if you've never confessed because you want the other person to confess first because you're too scared of being hurt? What if you've only had like a slight hunch of their feelings but can really pinpoint that into the right direction? And that's exactly where the warfare starts, one that is deeply psychological because love is war, right? Kaguya-sama Lover's War shows us why exactly that is the case. To set a common ground, let's give you a quick rundown so you understand the very basics. The anime is about a prestigious school called Shujin Academy, where the student council's president Shirogane Miyuki and his vice president Shinomiya Kaguya work hand in hand to keep the peace of the school. Kaguya got sent to the school by her parents who are supposed to have around 200 trillion yen, so damn, they're loaded. From the outside, she looks like the Mary Sue of the story. She excels in almost all possible ways. She is literally her. Opposite to that, Shirogane Miyuki comes from a poor house and manages to enter through a scholarship thanks to always being the first on every exam he takes. His efforts show that he's an earnest man with the right drive to navigate through life despite the hardships of his upbringings. Due to his superb grades, he becomes an object of envy and respect to many students alike, just as Kaguya, who is only a small step behind him in terms of academic success. As both excel so much, they are often regarded as the perfect couple by others. What a coincidence! In the first episode, Kaguya immediately starts off with the attempt to make Miyuki confess to her. This serves as an introduction for the tone of the show, one where they always hold up this friction that screams, oh, what could be? She mentions the rumor that they are supposedly dating and asks whether Miyuki has heard of it or not. His response is interesting. He says that she should just ignore it and think of it as a teenager's imagination. From the outside, both seem to not care too much, but the inner monologue shows that this is not true at all. Miyuki, full of himself, thinks that if Kaguya threw herself onto him, he might step down and actually allow it to happen. He continues that he's certain that she has feelings for him and thinks it's only a matter of time until she drops the mask of a cold, wealthy lady and blushes around him like a schoolgirl. As a stark contrast, we see Kaguya's inner thoughts too. She thinks of the rumor's impertinence, as she could never date a commoner, but she also leaves room for a slight possibility of it happening if he somehow fell onto his knees and offered his everything to her. She too thinks it's only a matter of time, Right after this, we get told that this has been going on for quite some time now. A limbo where both characters think it's only a matter of time until one of them drops down to their feet and confesses their undying love to them. But is this even enough to feel love? Something that we need to be vulnerable for to truly feel? They probably know that too, and thus they are in a love limbo. Neither of them has mustered up the courage to confess yet and kind of expects the other to finally do it. It could be seen as a stasis where you keep thinking about what could be, not what could have been. You are in a limbo that causes you less harm but also less happiness. We as humans always think about the fear of potentially feeling some form of shame, and it happens, right? Maybe you too know that feeling of a confession that has been long overdue. You can't count the times that you almost blurted it out and in the end you couldn't. It's not because you're scared of being loved, it's because you're scared of being rejected and scared of loving. Scared of reaching out because you already tried so many times but it just never landed. But what if you broke those walls you've set up yourself? What if you tore down every single layer, piece by piece? Well, before we go into the next chapter, this is actually my first YouTube video, and I really hope you've enjoyed it so far. Please consider subscribing, it helps us tremendously, and I really hope you can give me feedback. As for Lovers War, we can see that they have set up 3 layers. Layer number 1 is the shell outside, the one that they show other people by using signs of communication. We humans, which is something a robot would say, try to influence our environment, especially our social environment, as we like to control the impressions we give off. But what does this really mean? It means that we tend to adjust our behavior in a way that anticipates how the other person could react. For example, in forms of negative judgments that we want to avoid. In the case of Kaguya, she mentions the rumor about the relationship and presents them in a way that could be considered cold. She tries to make it look like she does not care and appears to laugh it off. Yet she probably mentions the rumors in hopes of planting a seed of thought inside of Miyuki. If she didn't care what he thought, she would have either never mentioned it or wouldn't have presented it in this certain way. If we look at Miyuki's reaction, we can see his outer shell shows off an ignorant demeanor too, one that calls it a teenager's notion based on their whims. He too doesn't seem to care about what was said and lost it off, but both of them try to manage their own behavior and try to control it in a sense where they control the other person too. Miyuki laughing it off and calling it a teenager's natural way of spreading rumors is him trying to make himself stand above his peers. This gives him leverage in a situation where he would like to improve his position. Kagi and Miyuki are currently in a duel of mental arm wrestling. By doing this, he makes himself seem more competent, as he does not give in to the earthly desires but rather is nothing but a competent student council president. He also indirectly undermines Kaguya, who mentions the rumor, as he is telling her to not give it any thought. It's not an order, but more of an advice. It makes it seem like he is in the position of authority here, almost belittling her without meaning any harm. The second layer they both set up is what they think when they want to protect themselves from the shame of potentially failing. An unconscious way of blocking off what they really think, almost cheating themselves. These are defense mechanisms, unconscious attempts to decrease inner stress. Kaguya wants to think that she does not care about a commoner and would never date one beneath her social status. However, there's a small possibility for him to be at her side. If he offers her everything he has, then she would consider shaping him into a proper man who's allowed to stand right next to her. But if she didn't already consider him to be the one, she would not even remotely think about that to happen. Someone of her status would just not consider someone if he's not already worthy. It could even be argued that due to statements like these, she would not want to change a single thing about him. To make herself not feel uncomfortable, her thoughts express exactly what she doesn't think. Miyuki, again not really contrasting Kaguya, thinks that he would give her a chance if she threw herself at him, or he would at least consider it an option, just let it happen, if nothing could be done about it. But we as the viewers, we see this and know it's not like this. Rather, it is their own form of self-defense, in which both of them try to attempt to run for a deeper connection. In reality though, there's nothing that both of them would like more. Their defense mechanisms may seem different, but they are actually very much alike. Kaguya creates distance by saying she is too good. Miyuki, however, closes distance by implying that he is good enough. The last layer is what they really think. It is one that stands in opposition to the second layer. While Miyuki doesn't fail to mention that he is good enough and thus she should fall on her knees and beg for his love, in reality he does not feel like that is the case. He often spends time thinking about whether she would laugh about him, belittling him with mentioning how cute his behavior is. And Miyuki is far from self-confident and tries subconscious positive reinforcement by mentioning that he is good enough due to his insecurities. Kaguya, however, fails to uphold her cold demeanor that is always creating a large wall of ice between them. Inside of her deepest thoughts, she does not think that Miyuki is too little, too weak to comment. No, rather, she thinks very highly of him and thinks he's nothing but a cute, strong and upstanding man. However, in the beginning of the show, there are only a few occasions where the two of them are able to let their true thoughts shimmer through. Even though we have understood so much now, seen the books play out, played these games before, we still feel scared, because then again we don't want the coin to be tossed. We don't want to admit the possibility of not being loved back. Okay, let's go back to the starting point. We ask ourselves, in theory, we could argue they already have everything they need to love each other. Their emotions serve as a base for a profound relationship that could grow over time, despite all of the hardships, social pressure and experience they will potentially go through, which are quite a lot. Happy ending, everything's fine, right? I mean, what more could it take to just love? What are they missing that makes the story feel like a limbo? Well, there are 3 things they currently miss. First of all, they are missing courage. The courage to not only show vulnerability, but also act vulnerable is one of the core foundations that you need to properly feel love. Love is not just a noun, but a verb too. There's a difference between a passive yearning for love that has yet to be created or being in a relationship where one's love cultivates into something bigger day by day. There's a difference between having a crush or having a relationship. A crush does not have any lingering attachments. They probably won't even know. A relationship, however, needs commitment. It's a serious bond, because Miyuki and Kaguya don't give their love opportunities to expand. It keeps being a need that seems to linger around the same level for a while, just until the pain finally starts to kick in, increasing the need. Once the pain gets big enough, they either distance themselves or start acting. What was once a fear of rejection has now become a drive to thoroughly work towards the goal to be loved. Second, they lack the honesty. Instead of admitting their love to themselves, they make up reasons or possibilities in which they would graciously accept their love proposals. But that's not how real love works, right? If they had been honest to themselves from the beginning, things might have worked out way earlier. But some of you could know this feeling, being in denial over the one you love because I am not a Derek, Tsundere. Never mind, wrong text. Well, as long as you're honest to yourself, don't swallow down your true thoughts and manage to be honest to yourself, well, then it's gonna work. Last but not least, they also need time, lots of it actually, because love needs time to grow. Consider it a crop that can't be grown in a single day, and because they haven't explored their feelings for each other yet, their love is actually just a small flame that slowly burns them. The one moment they had all the other prerequisites and also used their time together, their love was able to grow tremendously. So what you need to love, you ask? You need courage. Or to put it in other terms, be brave and accept love. Then you need to be honest about your own feelings. And finally, you have to give these feelings time to grow. And even then, you are allowed to fail. Not once or twice, but every single time you need. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Your support means the world to me. And welcome to all of my viewers who came from TikTok or IG. Thank you, guys.